MPs don't normally sit on a Friday, so that's by arrangement. It's because we're at very important times. It is confusing. The Prime Minister has decided to ask MPs to vote on just one half, effectively, of her deal. Let's find out exactly what that means. Hannah White is from the think tank Institute for Government. So, Hannah, let's start with some basics. She split the deal, so the withdrawal part of the deal is what MPs will vote on today. Just explain a little bit about that.
That's right. So previously, as Ben was saying, the deal, as we've been calling it, had these two parts. It had the divorce bit and it had the statement about what the EU and the government would like our future relationship to look like. And what the Prime Minister has done is said that because she hasn't been able to get Parliament to agree those two things together, she thinks that some people object more to the future declaration and what that says about what our future relationship might be. And what we really need right now, what the EU has said we need to get an extension to the 22nd of May, is just the divorce bit.
So, Hannah, take us through the next step. Supposing she wins her vote today on this part of the deal, we cannot stop the clock and say that is the moment where we have left, the decision has been taken, because there is yet more voting that has to take place.
Absolutely. I mean, this isn't even actually a meaningful vote as required under the legislation. So in order, if she passed it today, that would be a major relief for her.
It's a timetable tick, effectively, isn't it? Because that falls within what the EU has said, so that we can go for the 12th of April and then leave on the 22nd of May.
That's right, but she'd still need to pass an actual meaningful vote. She'd need, under our legislation at the moment, she needs to get Parliament to agree on a political declaration. But what the government could try and do is introduce the piece of legislation it needs to put the treaty into our law and use that piece of legislation, it's called the Withdrawal Agreement Bill, to change what our law says about needing the political declaration. They could try and change that requirement so that actually we could leave by the 22nd of May without that political declaration signed off.
You can hear, you can almost feel people, thinking, really, this is very confusing. At the heart of this, I suppose, in relation to today's date, the 29th of March, it is symbolic that she has brought it back on this day. I mean, do you think that could have any impact on how people will vote in order that some progress is made on what should have been an ending day?
I think she'll be hoping that symbolism does have an effect. And I think what she's saying is that what's really needed in order to secure Brexit is this divorce deal. And I think by implication she's saying if you don't vote for the divorce deal, then you're stopping Brexit. And she's hoping that will have an impact on some MPs.
From the government's point of view, in terms of the diary procedure, if the vote goes against her today, and many people think it will, then the 12th of April becomes the potential no-deal day, an extension day, or a revoking Article 50 day. That just pushes that date back into the diary, and that's a real physical point, isn't it?
It really is, and that's, I mean, it's more can kicking essentially, but the choices are really narrowing, as you say. The choices are narrowing to no deal, to asking for a longer extension, which would involve, the EU has said, us participating in elections for the European Parliament, or, as you say, a revocation, which the government has said it doesn't want.
It's going to be one of those days when people, I'm looking at some of the papers here, and One Last Chance is the headline on the Daily Mail. I think for a lot of people out there watching what's going on, there is that sense that this, third time she's brought a vote to the Commons, slightly different, of course, but it seems like one of those days, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a really crucial day in a series of crucial days. But the government will be really hoping that, having tried this different strategy, it can bring more MPs on board. But in terms of the numbers we've heard, it doesn't look likely that it will pass. The DUP have said that they won't support it, and there was a small group of conservative Eurosceptics who don't want to support it.
Hannah, good to see you here this morning. Thank you for that.